Hello, Makoto-san.
Yeah, hello.
Hold on a second. I'll just change my audio settings. Here it is. Now it works. How are you doing in Japan?
So lately, it becomes cold. Winter is coming in Japan.
Yeah, but Tokyo is very dry, so in the winter, so that should be okay.
It's Sweden humid.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good morning. Maybe.
Where are you based off?
Oh, I'm in Seattle.
You're in Seattle, okay.
Oh.
So it's really morning for you. Okay.
It is. I don't usually wake up this early. And this is we're all out of holidays this week, so this is a holiday week for us. So it's the Thanksgiving week. So most of us are out this week. So I still decided to take this call and kind of like talk to you guys. And I'm not working after this call. So.
Okay. I appreciate that you could join and say thank you to Milan for assigning you to that.
No worries. I'm one of the leads in the team driving the charter, so it's my pleasure.
Good. So we have Adler joining in as well, and after that we wait. I guess we only wait for Hugo to join, and then we complete. So let's wait another couple of minutes, give people a possibility to join. Meanwhile, a very quick introduction maybe. My name is Leo. I'm with Access Communication. I'm a chair of this board. And in Access, I work with our system integrator offering. Hi, Adler. We can't hear you.
You're muted.
Yeah. Makoto-san, if you could introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Makoto Nishihara from Japan. I belong to Panasonic Eye Processing Solutions. And so I joined in the Videometric project from April this year.
Okay, excellent. Nice meeting you, Leonard. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Yep.
Hi, Hugo. Welcome.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Right. So I think we are complete. First of all, thank you, Makoto-san, for elevating the question about Microsoft offering and view on this project. So I think this is the reason why we have a new representative from Microsoft joining today's call. We'll see how that will continue. So I think over to you.
Yeah, maybe if I can get a quick introduction from Alter and Hugo.
Hugo, if you could just say a couple of words of who you are, what you do.
Yes, of course. So I'm Hugo Brisson. I work for Genetec for 12 years now, and I've been involved in standard for Genetec for about 9 of those 12, mostly on VIF. And I was asked by my company if I was interested to see what was happening in this standard, and hence my participation.
Okay, and I see Adler and then sir.
Adler-san, you're muted.
Sorry. Is it okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm at the war coming from China, High Collision. So I be there for already 10 years, more than 10 years. Currently, I'm taking charge of our global technology partnership. So I joined this Videometric alliance from very beginning with Access Together. So we really enjoyed to share, to make a true contribution to this alliance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Or like we can get started. I would like to understand a little bit more about just Univision, what we plan to accomplish here, and like the goal and objectives. So I don't know if you could give me a background on this.
I can try to give you very quick, and then my colleagues on the board, please correct me and add to that. So the objective of Unimetric's project is to create a reference design implementation that enables analytics partners to basically take the applications and have a very solid and easy to understand platform on the edge to deploy it on the edge to boost this market within safety and security domain, so to say, within our product portfolio, so to say.
Okay, what does the reference architecture means here? Like, for example, today we're all building solutions on top of the great set of hardware that you all provide. Like, give me an example of how Microsoft could leverage Unimetric's content, or how we could contribute to that. Because I'm going to walk through like what we do from a product offering perspective, and so I'm trying to understand, as I think about the product roadmap and strategy, how we kind of integrate better with the Unimetric's reference architecture designs.
So I think when it comes to specific technical questions, we have a separate board working on the technical questions. So I'm not really. I mean, what I can do, I can share some of the material with you that we have actually publicly available now on Git. That could give you probably some of the information and view of the structure that we're trying to create. But basically, we're trying to create implementation that's abstracts the hardware layer a little bit and utilizing the industry standards, standard technologies and APIs, enable partners that you have, for instance, as ISVs that develop within your domain and willing to take parts of that application structure in form of containers and deploy it on the edge devices. So we're trying to make an abstraction layer on the edge device. Makoto-san, would it be a correct explanation? You're still on mute. Okay, we assume so.
I can't hear.
Mute.
You're still on mute, Makoto-san.
I'm sorry. So I'm mute. So this is the concept of the Unimatrix. So we are going to create the platform. So between edge, side, and cloud, and so so AI application, video analytics application can be shared among them. And so AI application can be shared by using the container orchestration tool. And so it could be shared with edge, side, and cloud. And maybe we have been discussing about Unimatrix architecture from a technology point of view. And there are hardware layer and the OS layer and the deployment, API, inference, metadata. Especially we're discussing about such parts about platform of Unimatrix. However, so we have to discuss furthermore things. For example, so deployment API, security, audio peripheral, SDK, sample applets, open VNO support or not, VMS interface, IO data definition. So in this time, so Milan-san suggested us to share the concept of Azure Video Analyzer with us. Therefore, so we would like to hear your suggestion. And so we would like to cooperate with Microsoft on the cloud part, maybe.
If you could go to a previous slide, please.
Okay.
So which part is going to be provided from Unimatrix here? So orchestrations are done from Kubernetes, containers, or Docker containers, and it runs in standard edge devices, basically. So which exact set of which part of the software is provided or like layer is offered from Unimatrix, and what problem it is going to solve for us?
Oh, mainly so that technology scope is the green curved part, and so container layer, so container runtime layer, API, and so orchestration and application. So basically, so we are going to introduce the regular OSS as long as we can use. However, so the so several specific parts should be discussed, and so. But so we are still discussing the platform. Therefore, so for example, so we haven't discussed the collaboration with cloud, or so. So we are going to expand this platform to the various industries. So, however, so we don't know the demand of each industry. Maybe so we need to discuss various things after now. But so it's still TBD. Therefore, so we would try to make clear how to proceed this project as of now.
Okay, fair enough. I might need more clarifications, but I understand we're thinking about this one, but I still have a lot of questions. Let me walk through what we're trying to do from Microsoft perspective in the video analytics area, and answer any questions. And you guys can tell me how this integration could help both parties. Because today we have large-scale implementations across various customers using Edge and the cloud, and so let me share my screen here. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, great. So Azure Video Analyzer is a hybrid platform. The way we think about this is we provide a hybrid platform that simplifies building intelligent video applications by capturing, analyzing, and publishing video and video-related metadata at the edge and the cloud. My apologies. I do not know if I introduced myself before I get started. Let me just introduce here real quick. Nanda Kishore Basavantappa, I'm a principal product manager lead at Microsoft Azure Video Analyzer team. So I've been with Microsoft for quite some time, so a little over 20 years. Worked in various different teams in Microsoft, started my career in as an engineer at Dynamics, worked in different parts of the Office 365 and Azure and IoT. So I worked in IoT for several years before I began focusing on the video analytics and vision AI aspects of it. So I've been with Microsoft quite some time, so I'm really looking forward to kind of sharing about our platform and then explore the ways that we can work together and then benefit basically. So what I'm going to do today is walk you through what we're doing with our product and product roadmap, what our customers are doing, by giving you a quick overview, and then we can dive deep into these ones in the additional calls, and we can figure out what does the integrations look like. So with that, so Azure Video Analyzer is the name of the product. So it's a hybrid platform. So the hybrid platform, the goal of the hybrid platform is to enable customers to build what we call as an intelligent video applications. When I say intelligent video applications, it's about capturing the data coming from the video cameras, analyzing them locally, and then publishing the inference results either locally at the edge or in the cloud, basically. So if you think about our platform architecture, on the left-hand side, we have various different IoT sensors, and we think of camera as one of the IoT sensors. So camera is becoming an ubiquitous IoT sensor. So we capture the video from the cameras, analyze them at the edge. So this is all running at the edge. We analyze them using any AI models, depending on what the customers prefer. And I'll get into what kind of AI models you can run into. And then the inferred results from the analysis is sent to the cloud. Now here, when you send it to the cloud, you can send only the inferred metadata, or you can send the inferred video into the cloud. So it's stored in the cloud, and then it can integrate with the rest of the Microsoft ecosystem, such as Power Apps, Power BI, or you can build your own custom apps. Now, we also introduced a new set of capabilities starting Ignite a couple of months ago, that you can connect your cameras securely into the cloud directly. So these are the cameras that are connecting directly into the cloud, and then you can capture and publish them in a cloud platform. So I'll get into the details for each one of them in a minute. So, but if you think about this, so we're a hybrid platform. We run an edge module at the edge device using Azure IoT Edge Runtime. And then we also have a cloud components that interacts with the edge module to integrate with the rest of the Microsoft ecosystem. Any questions here?
Well, I think it's very known structure, and I think we've seen it. So just to explain a little bit difference in the definitions. So what Microsoft normally call edge is everything what's installed on premises. So I think for the sake of Unimetrics, well, what we call edge is what you would call cameras. So Unimetrics project is predominantly to create a common platform for analytics to be run on cameras, utilizing cameras capabilities. Okay.
Yeah, I'll get to it in a minute too. That's a great clarification. That's great. So what we call as edge here is we call it as sometimes heavy edge. So and the cameras, we call them as a light edge, basically, right? So because you have a limited amount of compute on the cameras that you can run some amount of AI, but you want to offload a bunch of things into an edge device. We're working very closely with Access team, and we recently published a blog post. I don't know if you've seen that. Yes. We worked with Access to publish that, and we have a couple of things that are happening with Access ACAP platform, where we integrate with the Access ACAP. In fact, we are releasing an Access ACAP soon in partnership with your team, basically. So very familiar with how the camera edge works here and the things that we can do on the cameras, basically. Yes. So we typically call it as light edge and then heavy edge here. And we can also, I'll talk about this in a minute, where we talk about cascading AI, where you run some amount of AI on the cameras, and then you run then the rest of the AI on the edge devices, and then connect to the cloud.
Absolutely. So I think that the benefit of dividing the system, as you showed, is to kind of, as you said, to analyze in cloud only the data that already been pre-processed by either camera itself or edge server, and extract the valuable metadata, not the video itself.
Exactly. It's up to the customers to decide if they want to send a video versus not, and where they want to process, and they have the complete flexibility. And so nothing in this architecture forces them to do the inferences in one or the other places. They can do it in the cameras or in the edge or in the cloud, and they're all seamlessly connected to one another. Okay. Great.
Yep.
So let me go through what we consider as a core set of capabilities from an Azure Video Analyzer platform. So out of the box, Azure Video Analyzer provides what we call as a comprehensive video analytics pipeline in order to take the data from the camera edge to a hardware edge device that runs in the on-premises to the cloud. You need a various different pipelines and topologies to configure depending on what you're trying to achieve. So we provide over 25 different various validated video topologies that you can use, and we continuously add new capabilities in terms of the topologies pretty regularly, almost on a monthly basis. So for example, to your point earlier, you can run a single AI model. That means you can run a single AI model on an edge device and do all the processing and send to the cloud, or what we call as a cascading or a composite AI model. That means you run a certain AI models in the cameras, then you offload to the edge device, and then you send to the cloud. In this case, let's assume that you have an implementation where cameras are doing a license plate detection. So the cameras could run an AI model to do a license plate detection, or it could be doing a people count. But if the inference result is, let's say, less than 80%, if the inference result is less than 80%, then you offload that inferencing capabilities because you need more computing capabilities to a heavy edge, which is sitting on premises, saying, okay, the inferencing percentage, or like let's say the confidence percentage is lower than 80%, so we need to do further analysis, and you do further analysis and you send the results to the cloud. But if the confidence is higher than 80%, the results can directly go from cameras to the cloud. So in this case, what we call as a single AI model versus a cascading or a composite AI model speaks to what you just talked about earlier, basically. We also have what we call as event-based analytics. That means only when the cameras could do a motion detection, or cameras could do, our IoT devices can do some kind of an event detection. And then after that, you can go on doing inferencing. Like it detected an event, now you want to do an inferencing on top of it. You can track the objects, you can look at the various different things such as like line crossing, zone crossing, and all of those things, or you can simply do a continuous recording. So there's 25 different topology configurations that we provide that you can take advantage out of the box. And all of the sample code, the SDKs are published in Java, Python, C#, and because we're a PaaS service, PaaS service as I refer to as platform as a service, we want our customers and partners to take advantage of these things out of the box. So we provide a various different sample applications, deployment templates, and integration with a Visual Studio Code out of the box. In that way, you can deploy these things the moment you kind of have the product installed. So the next set of capabilities is a built-in video recording and playback. So as you can imagine, we're building an intelligent video applications. The intelligent video applications, the main goal here is to analyze the video and create video applications that are kind of gaining insights based on the video input that is coming from the cameras. One of the capabilities that the customers asked us is, hey, we want to record and play back the videos or the inferred videos that we're getting from the cameras. So out of the box, we provide what we call as a widget. The widget can be used to play back the video, or you can use this widget to integrate with the custom applications to record and play back the video that you infer, basically. The next one is we want to make sure the AI models are hardware optimized. As you can imagine, that's where most of the computing is kind of exercised. So depending on what you're running, it could be OpenVINO models, or it could be NVIDIA DeepStream models, or it could be Microsoft first-party models from the cognitive services from the Microsoft itself. So we want to make sure it can provide the best of the breed capabilities with reference to the AI engine that the customers want to bring in here. And we provide a set of what we call as a certified edge devices. The cameras are certified. We want to make sure that we leverage the right set of cameras, and the gateways are certified. So we provide a certified edge devices that has enough capabilities to run this AI processing. You can do all these things on a Linux or a Windows. So it doesn't really matter in terms of what kind of hardware you're running. And then when it comes to AI model, we say, bring any AI model of your choice. So you can build AI models using open source and kind of like using your own data and make it richer, or you can use the Microsoft AI models, or you can bring in the AI models from OpenVINO model Zoo or NVIDIA DeepStream model Zoo, basically. So we want to make sure any models that you bring in is optimized for the hardware platform. Hence, we support Intel OpenVINO natively, NVIDIA DeepStream natively, so you can take advantage of those capabilities out of the box. Everything what we do in Microsoft is in line with what we call as AI principles that we publish and provide guidance to the customers. So we are a hybrid platform. We want to make sure we help customers to achieve their goals of cost, privacy, and security aspects of it. So that means you can process as much as data in the edge, or as much as you want to do in the cloud, or you can do it in both the places. So it's sometimes we call it as, it's okay to process some data in the cloud. Sometimes it's not okay to process the data in the cloud at all. You want to process all of them in the edge, whether you do it in the cameras or do it on the gateways. We want to make sure that we provide that flexibility and enable the privacy and the speed of accuracies by providing the hybrid platform. The last but least, we are an Azure service. When we are an Azure service, that means you have the ability to integrate the results and the insights that you get natively, seamlessly into various different aspects of the of Azure platform or Microsoft platform, such as Power BI, Power Apps, Power BI, Power Apps for visualizing the content. And of course, you can integrate this data into Teams and various different aspects of the product within Microsoft ecosystem. So these are the kind of like 6 different classes of core set of capabilities that we provide. And before I kind of get into kind of some of the customer use cases, any questions here?
I have a question. I have a question about on-prem server. Is it hardware that you intended to distribute yourself, or you're relying on available hardware on the market?
When you say on-premise hardware server, you're referring to the edge devices?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. If you in your architectural structure, there is a edge server. So I'm referring to this hardware.
Yeah, so that refers to this part of the picture, what we call as hardware optimized AI on the edge. So customers can bring in any hardware of their choice that they want to run the AI models on. So for example, if the customers want to run Intel OpenVINO optimized AI models, they might prefer to bring in a hardware which is with Intel VPU and iGPU, or if the customers want to run an NVIDIA DeepStream, they could bring in a NVIDIA GPU hardware. So it's totally up to the customers to bring in what kind of hardware they want to. If they bring in a beefier hardware, they can potentially connect multiple cameras. If they bring in a relatively low-end hardware, they can connect a fewer cameras. It really depends on the use case and what the customers want to bring in. We provide a hardware certification portal that they can pick any of the devices from our certification. The only requirement here is the hardware should be capable of running IoT Edge Runtime. Azure IoT Edge Runtime is the one that runs the Edge modules. The requirements for running IoT Edge Runtime is extremely simpler. You can run it on a small device such as like Raspberry Pi, for example. And if did I answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
Not at the moment.
Let me do a quick walkthrough of the customer case study. So I'll start with the Dow Chemicals. So let me play this video. Let me know if you can hear the audio or not.
Not at the moment.
Okay. Let me please let me know if you can't hear the audio. Can you hear the audio?
No.
So maybe when you share the screen, so you need to check the checkbox.
Yeah, so I think I have it enabled. Let me check again. Let me know if you can now. If you can't hear, let me know, please. Out now?
The Digital Operations Center at the Dow Chemical Company is focused on delivering,
Could you hear the audio?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes, it's fine.
Innovative and sustainable solutions. We evaluate and work on the new and emerging technologies
The technology around machine vision isn't necessarily new, but how do we actually use it in these industrial environments and do it at scale was really the big question. What we were tasked with was to develop a solution for leak detection to enable the operators at the site to catch these very unlikely events from happening before there's actually any kind of issues.
With our leak detection solution, cameras are monitoring 24/7. The camera feed is going into an intelligent edge device using the Azure Video Analyzer. When a leak happens, the alert is sent through the IoT hub to send out an email, voice, or SMS call to the appropriate person.
We don't have to create this foundational set of technology from scratch. We can just leverage Azure to quickly develop and deploy models at scale. This enabled us to see a path to scalability. The value is not just one deployment, but thousands of deployments. And you can't even compare the speed at which we got a solution that was scalable up versus doing it internally. We really couldn't have done it without the solution that we built with Microsoft. We're going to ultimately save money by increasing safety and by having more digital tools in the hands of our manufacturing personnel to improve their job experience and do their jobs in a more safe and productive way.
Being at Dow and bringing in newer innovations that help the end user and at the same time improving the safety of our systems, that is something that makes me feel that I'm contributing.
So in this case, one of our showcase customer, Dow Chemicals, is using their existing cameras in their factory floor to do one of a scenario that they're starting with. They're looking at many different implementations. So one of the scenarios that they're starting with is with respect to leak detection in various aspects of their factory by using the existing cameras. So these existing cameras are providing a feed into a local edge gateway, and the edge gateway is doing the inferencing based on the model that they have built and trained, and it sends the inferences to into their Power Apps platform and their notification systems that you saw on the mobile app as they find out. So this is all around leak detection, cracks, anything that they can visually see where the cameras have visibility at the field of view is all done through their existing cameras. So this is one of the implementation that they went live. Now they're expanding into different use cases, and as they expand, in some cases they might replace their existing edge hardware with a beefier hardware because now they're doing more processing. In some cases, they're okay with the edge hardware that they have because their use cases for that one is limited to one or two scenarios. Any questions here?
No.
Okay, great. And let me talk about, so in this case, this was a customer implementing our solution, that's Dow Chemicals. Now I'll talk about the other use case where our partner, Zero G, who specializes in airlines turnaround, providing a value to the airports and the airliners in terms of reducing the manual checklist that they perform. Let's talk about a partner implementing the similar solution. Yep, so let me just go ahead and play this.
Air traffic is a quite complex system. We don't want delays, but they happen.
Lufthansa CityLine teamed up with our data team at Zero G to generate AI-powered, machine-driven insights, making our operations always more efficient, turning them into an even more customer satisfactory experience.
We need to have this end-to-end view to discover bottlenecks so that we predictively steer our processes.
The most elegant way was to use pre-existing cameras with Azure Video Analyzer, the Azure IoT Hub. If things are delayed, a turnaround manager can get flagged and can actually solve the issue before it causes a delay.
We get a transparency that we never had before in order to serve our customers best. For all the gates, hundreds of flights every day, we have aggregated knowledge and transparency to steer all those processes on the system level. The whole system moves better, more efficient. So less delays or no delays at all, no long waiting times at the gates because everything is done really fast, and you can even catch up delays because the processes are that efficient.
It comes down to transformation from reactive to predictive, turning value faster, both for customers and for our company, avoiding delays, avoiding waste. We're not only talking dollars here. From a customer standpoint, it also means higher quality ultimately.
So in this case, Zero G is an ISV. It's an ISV partner who specializes in kind of providing a turnaround management for the airlines. So they went live with a couple of the airports in Europe where they're providing these services to Lufthansa to enable reducing the turnaround time and reducing the manual checklist that they provide with a camera-based solutions that we just talked about. So Telstra is a other large telco from Australia who is going live later this year in December for the Christmas time, where they're leveraging the power of the 5G and their capabilities to build the AI models that run on the edge. So they're going into market with various different analytic solutions for traffic, manufacturing, quality inspections, construction zone in terms of folks wearing personal production equipment versus the hard hat and various different scenarios, or restricted area movement scenarios. So they're going live to the market with a couple of customers in December. I will share the case studies. I'll share the recording of the case studies soon. So now here the telco and ISV that is using the solution to deploy to their customers using our platform. So I want to show you the variety of the things that is implemented, one by a customer, and the second is by an ISV, and the other one is by a telco who is trying to take the solutions to the market, basically. Now, in all of these scenarios, they're using an existing cameras. These cameras may or may not have the ability to run the AI models on them. So if they have the ability to run the AI models on apps, they will leverage them as necessary. If not, they will run the models at the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do is I'll quickly walk through some of the Azure Video Analyzer concepts so that you have an understanding of how we do these things and how we achieve that. So in order to provide a wide range of analytic scenarios for various different customers across the industry segment, we provide a pipeline or a topology that you can run at the edge or in the cloud. So think of the topology as a blueprint for creating your pipelines. So this topology is made up of various different what we call as source, processor, and sink nodes. Source are the places where you can capture the data from, such as the video cameras or the IoT sensors. Or the processor is a place where you do this processing or the inferencing, and sink is a place where you just sync the data into the cloud or locally or to your file system. So the topology acts as a blueprint, and then you kind of create a variations of this create an instantiation of the topology that are pipelines. So every camera will have a pipeline of its own that is inheriting from the topology, and it can take the data, do the inferencing, and take it to the sink. Today we offer various different source processors and sink. We continuously add new set of processors. So every month we might add a new processor. So today we enable the ability to capture video from any RTSP feed, mostly like the on-wave cameras, GST, the profile GST, and of course we capture the messages from the IoT hub as well. So you can create the video applications using both a camera feed as well as the IoT data. You can sync the data into a video file in the edge or in the cloud, or you can send directly into an IoT hub as a message route. Processor is where the most of the intensive logic comes into play. Here, you can have a built-in processor such as like motion sensors or HTTP extension sensors and GR. So motion sensor is for, as you can imagine, for detecting the motions in a camera view of field. HTTP extensions and gRPC extension is to bring in your own AI inferencing models. So we provide both HTTP and gRPC. HTTP is more of a legacy backward compatibility for ease of enabling applications, but gRPC is where you want to bring in much more sophisticated, high frames per second validations that can be done using the gRPC inference engines. So in this case, you can bring in Intel OpenMINO or NVIDIA. They all work natively with our gRPC extensions, or you can use our cognitive services extension processor to kind of process them using the Microsoft first-party AI models. Then we're adding new set of capabilities such as like signal gate to kind of like manage the data between the IoT hub or the video, or object tracking between the different cameras, and line crossing, like which is a most popular scenario for our customers to be added. So we're adding few more processors in the next set of months. So again, that's all to enable what we call as customers to create a comprehensive set of topologies and pipelines that they can go and achieve the solutions. For example, 0G is leveraging a gRPC extension, and our other ISP partners could be leveraging a cognitive services extension processor because they're leveraging Microsoft AI models. Any questions here?
Not yet.
So this is my final kind of walkthrough in terms of what you can do. So as I was referring to.
So sorry, just a quick one. If you go to the previous slide. Yeah, here we go. So you have, in terms of processor, object tracker, line crossing, motion detection. So I would guess that majority of the cameras that are currently available on the market have this functionalities embedded, so they kind of capable of producing this data and delivering this data as a source to the pipeline.
Yep. That's very much possible. As we're referring to earlier, that's where we leverage the cascading AI model, basically. So you kind of take the inferencing from the cameras and then you process on top of it at the edge as necessary. If the cameras don't have the capabilities, then you leverage the processors that we provide here as a part of the pipeline.
So I think it's a good slide to kind of get back to where we see the value of Unimetrics is. So the value of Videometric is that to create the possibility for application developers to utilize capabilities in the camera, on edge server or cloud, and distribute application in a kind of parallel way, where you have parts of the analysis done utilizing camera capabilities, transfer the data to next coming instance in the pipe for further analysis, and then finally get it out to the cloud for a real application layer, if it's Power BI or Dynamics or whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is kind of what we're trying to create, a common platform that utilizes industry standards and open APIs that allows, a wider range of available devices.
Yeah, so the way it would work for us here is I might have it. I have a different topology I can walk through. So you would be sending a AI inferencing event. So I will. It's on our documentation as well, basically. So you can send the AI inferencing results into our pipeline, basically. So everything what you just described is absolutely valid. So today we expect an AI inferencing result, but what you're saying is Unimetrics might provide it in a slightly different format.
I'm saying that we probably need to find a way a way where we what parts, for instance, Microsoft would be interested to cooperate with the Videometrics project and willing to influence the Videometrics project. So it will be integrated in a better way to Azure, either through IoT Hub or Video Analyzer, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think, as you said, it will be. So it needs to come in as a kind of, we can discuss the implementation details, but yes, so we need to figure out a way of ingesting your data. If you're building a new set of capabilities for this platform, and then you still want the data to be processed further at the edge, right? So because in some cases you want to process that data at the edge, in some cases you want to just send it to the cloud directly, basically. Yes, absolutely agree with you. So does it mean that we need to extend our source? Does it mean that once we extend the source, we need to add a new?
I think it's already covered. I'm just trying to kind of draw the ideas because already today, some of your processors that you present here, they're in fact implemented in the cameras already, both in case of Hikvision or Axis or others. It's quite not in all devices, of course, but it's getting there. Really, it becomes more and more hygiene factor.
Yep. We're very well aware of that. So if the cameras can provide that, then we can just do we can take the line crossing data coming from the cameras and do an inferencing on top of it. Basically, we don't need to have the customers implement a line crossing in the edge devices. Right. So yeah. So now what it gets into is various different topologies that the customers can build a pipeline. As you can see here, the first one shows an implementation of getting a camera from the, getting a video from the RTSP source, processing it at the HTTP extension, and then using a signal gate to send the data into the cloud, versus the inference result getting into the IoT hub in the IoT Edge hub in the device, and then to the cloud, basically. And similarly here, the data is processed using an HTTP extension, sending it to an external AI inferencing engine, and then you have an object tracker that kind of looks for it, for what the objects of interest, and then taking the results into the cloud or the IoT Edge device. So this is what we call as a kind of enabling a real-time intelligent video applications that you can build using our capabilities of the pipeline. So I can get into this one, but I don't know how much of interest it is for your team, but I'll quickly touch on it. So in many instances, people want to connect the cameras to the cloud directly. So they do not want to connect to the edge devices. You can connect the cameras to the cloud if it is open on the internet, but it's a very insecure way of connecting the camera to the cloud. And we do not recommend people connect the cameras to the cloud in that insecure way, unless if you're doing some kind of a quick exploration. So what we enable is, this is the very first one, is in partnership with Access. With Access, we are building an IoT PNP app. It's going to be an ACAP app that's going to be running in the Access ACAP marketplace. When the customers install the Azure Video Analyzer ACAP app that is available in the marketplace, they can connect these cameras directly into the cloud. So that means the inferred results and the data from the cameras will be available directly in the cloud. That is one way of connecting the cameras directly into the cloud. Now, as you said, not all the cameras are capable of running ACAP, and even the cameras that are capable of running ACAP, there is various different models or the chipsets that do not support what we're trying to implement, like the version 3 and everything else. Now, those cameras can connect to the cloud. In fact, not restricted to just Access. It can be now, the second approach is for any camera vendors. It could be access or Panasonic Hikvision or any cameras, they can connect into the cloud securely by using what we call as a lightweight edge device. This lightweight edge device can be really simple, inexpensive device. It can be Raspberry Pi. It just needs to run a IoT edge runtime. No AI processing. In this case, you're not doing any AI processing, but the gateway is acting as a transparent. But the edge device is acting as a transparent gateway. That means it's providing a security isolation between the cameras and the cloud. So the data from the camera will go to the cloud securely through this lightweight edge gateway. And the third one, which we do not recommend do, is connecting cameras through the open internet to the cloud, which is a very insecure way of doing it. But that should be only done for any quick POCs or exploration kind of scenario. So this is a new set of capabilities that we enable during our recent Ignite launch.
Mm-hmm.
Everything what we record to the cloud can be played back at a low latency. That means if you're doing a recording to the cloud, you can play back with like a 2-second latency from the cameras, basically. So things that you're seeing in front of a camera, you can play back using our player widget within 2 seconds of delay. It's very similar to your doorbell camera or a Ring camera. If someone rings in your doorbell, you can see it with a latency of 1 or 2 seconds or a couple of seconds. That's exactly what we provide now with our integration of what we call as a live playback. So that means you can play back from the cloud within 2 seconds. This is using the first-party AI models I was referring to. And this is we enable a set of capabilities that will let the customers take advantage of the first-party AI models running the inferences at the edge. I think in this case, it's a pretty standard in terms of the retail scenarios. We also enable capabilities to store the data locally to an MP4 files. That means the reason you can do these things is if you're doing an evidence management, you can kind of take this data that is stored into an MP4 file after doing an inferencing, because now if you're doing an inferencing at the edge device, if you need to take this for a evidence management or for insurance purposes, you need the exact snippet of the data in an MP4 format, basically. So out of the box, we enable those capabilities where the customers can save the inferred results into an MP4 file and then take it out of the platform. So that's a quick rundown of what I want to capture. I know we have 2 minutes, and I will share all of these links to you that you and your team can kind of further refer to.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So the question is, given your product plans and what you shared, given what is publicly available from Microsoft as well, and the Unimetrics concept, I think the question still remains: what would be what could be areas within Unimetrics project that Microsoft might be interested in collaborating around? Okay, so again, we have an ambition, and different parties within this open source project is pushing some of the ideas that are interesting for collaboration. For instance, Axis contributed with Laravel API, an implementation that we were kind of donated to Unimetrics project, which is on the Linux Foundation, by the way, if you're not aware of that. So we follow the guidelines and licensing models and so on. So the question is to Microsoft really to think about whether there are any areas that you guys think you would benefit from by collaborating with multiple players within security industry in developing a common platform.
Yeah, it's definitely worth exploring. What we need to probably identify is specific set of challenges that the customers would be running into. by not having that common layer, common platform? Like, what problems that you're trying to solve that would benefit the providers?
Sorry for that. I would like to elevate it a little bit. It's not only the customer. I mean, it's not only the customer problems. It's a problem for integrators. It's problem for camera vendors, and it's problem for system developers or application developers. It's from different angles, but I think to really see the landscape, you need to map all the stakeholders in the system. And as far as I'm concerned, there is stakeholders such as end user, Lufthansa in your case, right? It's application developer who have done the actual logic and models. It's system integrator who put it in place and deploy. It could be Accenture, it could be I don't know, JCI, it could, whoever. It is hardware manufacturers like Axis or iPro, Hikvision, and so on. And of course, it's Microsoft or other cloud vendors who creates a platform for cloud application to live with them. Okay, so it's multiple users, and what we're trying to do is to create a unified platform that those instances could utilize. And the fundamental driver for that is we believe that by creating this open platform, we actually create a possibility for this market to evolve and grow faster than it's growing today.
Absolutely. I totally get where you're coming from. So could you describe me like the challenges that the SI and the app ecosystem players were having? What kind of challenges we're going after, basically, from a Unimetrics perspective? So I understand the ambition to create the open source platform. The ambition for the open source platform is to solve or enable. So one, it could be solving a specific set of challenges for the system integrators and the app ecosystem developers, or it could be the ambition is to enable a new set of scenarios, basically. So that's why I'm trying to understand what is that ambition, or what is the set of challenges for these set of players, basically.
As Makoto-san showed those architecture, so those green boxes is potential deliveries from the Unimetrics project.
Here it is.
Okay. Okay, I understand. Great. How can I help you further, and what's the next steps from here?
I think it would be interesting. I mean, this is how open source projects works. I mean, if the fundamental idea is attractive for the participants, it's a matter of understanding whether a certain participant, like Microsoft in this case, would be interesting to participate and contribute with the development. And if there is something you would like to collaborate and yeah, set more or less a standard for that.
Okay. Fair enough. So you're asking how Microsoft could contribute to the Unimetrics Foundation and then enable. Okay.
That's very much the question. Yeah. So I think it's and just to be very clear, it's not a question that is specific to Microsoft. It's a question to any participant of the project.
Okay, sounds good. I will discuss it internally, and as you can imagine, a majority of our team members and the organization is on kind of spotty availability between now and end of the year. So we should continue to exchange the emails and then kind of have an exit of discussions in January and then see what the next step should look like.
Rasan, I have one suggestion. It's time to finish this meeting, and Genetech Hugo-san has already disconnected, and therefore we would like to have another meeting in this year, and especially in the meeting, we expect Microsoft to explain their suggestion for the Unimatrix. In addition, this is iPro's proposal. So far, we have been discussing about a Unimatrix architecture. However, we would like to to accelerate the activity. Therefore, we would like to combine all meetings, GB, TV, and CB calls into one meeting, and by doing so, we would like to formulate the Unimatrix standard as soon as possible. In addition, so far, Axis has large responsibility. Therefore, by reducing the load, iPro would like to stand a candidate of the next TV chair. In addition, the meeting frequency would be once 2 weeks, and for a while, we would like to discuss about Unimatrix with all the members, and in addition, we need to arrange the meeting after now. Therefore, someone need to arrange the meeting. And Leo-san, who is the best person to arrange the meeting after now?
A quick question. So I had to drop off. Do you still need me for the discussions? A couple of things is, if it might be unlikely that we can meet between now and December, just considering the availability of the team members and the plans for vacation, everything else. And second, if we need Microsoft participation, we may need to meet slightly later time. 6 a.m. is too early to meet on a regular basis, basically. But I would say like the next discussions that we can potentially join would be in January-ish. And before that, let's close on what we want to kind of achieve in that meeting and where Microsoft can provide and how can it be valuable, basically.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So is it okay? Can I drop off?
Yes. Thank you very much for joining and explaining a lot to us.
Okay. Excellent. Yep. It's nice meeting everyone. And then let's continue discussions over the email and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Makoto-san, to your question, I have no problem combining the meetings. Every second week, I'm not sure if it's needed. It's basically very much up to technical board to decide whether it's needed or not. This is where majority of the discussion should go anyway. From the governance board, I don't think it's so many questions to the actual governance that we need to meet every second week. But if, I think it's honestly, I think it's time really to focus on technical contribution rather than meetings.
Mm-hmm. So iPro is going to share the reference implementation about the Kubernetes related solution.
Okay.
On the Raspberry Pi.
Okay.
So we need to share the information between GB, TB, and CB. So actually, TB and CB calls are not held. Therefore, we need to combine the meetings, and we need to track the progress of each board.
Okay. So if you can call for the next, because I think again it's majority of the work is to be done is in technical board. So and if you volunteer to drive this work, I think it's
so I can set up the meeting. However, as I mentioned in the previous meeting, the Axis only have the YouTube and GitLab access right.
Yeah, we should change that. We should change that.
Therefore, your previous MOM has not been uploaded yet. Do you know?
Say it again.
So we had the GB call last month.
Yes.
And so Leo-san uploaded the meeting minutes on the GitLab, right?
Yeah. Yeah. However, and I did it as well, but it's haven't been merged back. So I've discussed that with Ville. So I think we need to find who could also have an owner role in the repositories.
So Frederickson committed all.
I know.
Frederickson approved all commits. However, we don't know how to do. Therefore, we need Axis help to do so.
Yeah, this is one way of doing that. Another way of doing that is that we appoint one more owner of the repository, for instance, iPro, and then you can do it.
Please let me know how to do it.
Yes, sure.
In addition, how about Wilson? If I remember correctly, he is the project management role in Unimatrix project.
Yes. Yes.
Let
me discuss that. I will get back on this point.
Yeah, please discuss that thing with Wilson.
But what we discussed previously internally is that we should create owner role for the repositories outside Axis as well, because today, as you said, it's only Axis people, couple of them actually have ownership of the repositories, and I think we have additional companies in this role.
Yeah. Anyway, so please discuss that thing Axis internally, and if you need, please share the privilege with other companies, for example, Hikvision, iPro, Videometric, and so on.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. No taken. I think I need to go as well, so it's a little bit longer meeting that we used to have, but I think it was good discussion. Let's continue to discuss by mail.
Okay.
Great.
Any immediate questions that we need to solve today? Otherwise, we cut the call.
So for nothing else.
Anything from you?
It's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.